G'day everybody and welcome back to part 4 of my restoration. It's great to have you back. I thought I'd take a moment at the start of this episode to show off some of my tool porn that I exhibit on a daily basis. Just look at that socket set. Oh, and those ratchets. And look at the little stubby ones. So it's finally time to put the engine back into the bike frame. It can be quite heavy and a little bit awkward to carry these things, but if you've got washboard abs and massive biceps, it's quite simple, I've been told. Just giving that surface a little wipe down before I apply it with gasket sealer. Now, a few people have asked why I'm not using proper gaskets. I don't actually have any, and they're very hard to find. They're very expensive on such an old bike, 1973. It's a long time. But this gasket sealer seems to be doing the job. So also replaced the batteries. I wasn't getting any voltage out of the battery, the original battery, but I was able to find the same model that was being used in it. Now, I didn't realize this, but when the batteries arrive, you actually have to fill them up with a demineralized water. They don't come ready to go, so you've got to prep them and then you can install them. $30. Would you pay $30 for a battery clip? I would. Spanky. And that clear pipe is an overflow tube for the battery fluid. So I'm now about to put a new chain on the bike. So the chain comes with extra links, so you can cut it down to size and tension it yourself. I would recommend wearing gloves when handling a new chain because it's just coated in grease. I was just a little bit too excited to put gloves on. So the chains usually come with a connecting link, and you just pop that off with a screwdriver or a pair of pliers. You can measure how many links you need, and then you grind down the pins of the links and you can pop off the plates. I'm using a special tool here that actually pushes the pins out. Here I've got the original front sprocket, and my gosh, has it taken a beating. It's missing a few teeth, and they were very, very ground down. So this new one is, oh god, it's remarkable. There's something so satisfying about putting a nice shiny part on. And now I'm tensioning the chain. And putting the front sprocket guard back on. Because face it, nobody wants to get sucked into there.
Look at that.
So good. The handlebars on the bike looked as though they'd had a very rough life. There was a lot of rust and all the components were, quite fatigued and they'd been abused. So I was stripping it down. I was going to give it a scrub with some steel wool, get all the rust off. Repaint a few components and swap out a lot of the cables. One thing you should never do is underestimate the power of steel wool, because honestly on any chrome surface that I've ever worked on, it just dominates at taking rust off. That light surface rust, it'll just eat it up. This is a chrome polish. I'm not going to begin to try and pronounce that, but it works really well with just a cloth, and you can use it to buff out a lot of the scratches. It'll leave a really shiny finish, like dangerously shiny. Now I'm giving these little things some black paint. I don't know what they're called. And also adding a few cables in. So I put a clutch cable, I think a front brake, throttle cable, and also a speedo cable. And I have to add that only 2 out of the 4 cables actually fit the bike. The 2 that didn't needed a fair amount of modification. So yeah, that's just how it is, I think, ordering parts for such an old bike. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges with doing a restoration like this is the lead times on parts that you're waiting for, and as well as the accuracy of those parts, can be really frustrating. This project probably took months longer than it should have, purely because I was waiting for parts to arrive in the mail. And when they arrived, they were incorrect. Good luck getting grips on without some kind of lubricant. I ended up using soapy water, and it just makes it so much easier. And once the soapy water evaporates, then the grip isn't going to move. It's rock solid. Fortunately, quite a few of these parts were universal, so the grips and the mirrors, as well as brake levers and things like that, I was able to order online, eBay, without any dramas, or even pick them up from just a local motorbike shop. So I wanted to repaint the front and rear fender. Firstly they were grey. I didn't really like the grey, but also it was very faded, and there was lots of sticker marks, and yeah, it just needed a spruce up. So as a side note, I didn't realise how many XL175 fans there were out there. There seemed to be a lot of diehard owners. These videos have been getting a surprising amount of views for what they are, so I'm very grateful for that. And I have to say, I went for a job interview about 4 months ago, and at that point I'd only uploaded part 1 and 2 of this series. And at the end of the interview, there was a panel of about 5 people that were interviewing me, and one of them came up to me at the end and said, "I've seen all your videos, and my first motorbike was a Honda XL175. Oh, and one of the other guys came up to me and said, "That's not how you split a case, you're not supposed to use a screwdriver." But I got the job, so happy days.
Under the tap, over the thing, so you're not spewing shit all over the place. See if anything comes out. Completely blocked.
The fuel tank petcock was not letting any fuel out when I tried to drain it, so I replaced it, and now it works like a charm. So this is probably also unnecessary, but I put a inline fuel filter just to catch extra stuff. It was only a cheap thing, it was like $3 from eBay, so whether it's doing anything or not, I have no idea. The air filter's messed up. So I pulled off all the foam and gave it a good clean as best I could. I don't know how long it takes the foam to get all crumbly like that. If anyone knows, please let me know in the comments. And now I'm saving money by reusing some old foam and making up a little filter for it. Just chucking a couple of cable ties on to hold it, and then I'm gonna give it a coat in some engine oil. Now I know you're supposed to use air filter oil. The reason for that is it's more viscous and it won't run off as quickly, but this is all I had, and I've read that it's an okay substitute. So if there are any air filter experts out there watching this, cringing, please give me some info, I'm curious. Is this terrible? Is this catastrophic? Is this doing anything by having engine oil? I'd like to know.
Oh, there you go. We're really going to notice that too. You're going to be behind them going, go, what the f***?
Woohoo! My mum made a bet with me that I couldn't get to 25,000 subscribers, so if you could please hit subscribe, then that would be very appreciated. Thanks guys.